Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, May 9th, 2022. The year's going by, no stopping it. Things are happening, and we're all just part of this big cycle of life, right? Sure seems that way. I hope everybody is doing well. A beautiful day outside today. Beautiful. Last few days it's been really, really nice. Temperature has dropped over the weekend. Had a good time yesterday. My wife and I went to a fair that she likes to go to, and I've never been there before. So that's what we did yesterday. We spent the day together and walked around the fair, and looked at crafts. And my wife was real quick to say, "You can make that, and you can make that, and you can make that, and you can make that." I'm like, "Yeah, I can," in my free time. So anyway, I hope everybody had a good weekend and spent some time with either their mother or the mother of your kids, or the scenario, the whole big global Mother's Day, let's say, celebration. But I'm glad you're here. Now, if you're new to this live stream, for the most part, we talk about classic cars. And when I say classic, my mind puts it like mid-50s up into early 70s. That's kind of my bracket that I look at for classic. Some people may go a little further into the 70s. I don't know if I can go any further back into the 50s. 55 Chevy is probably where I want to kind of make the cutoff, at least in my mind. So we tend to talk about cars, and we may talk about movies. We may talk about food. It's kind of a wide open scenario. And I'm open to suggestions, and I'm open to questions. So sorry, hold on a second. I use a jack stand as a foot prop, and it wasn't set right. So if you have a question you want to bring up, that'll be great. If you want a subject matter or something you want to talk about, that's fantastic. Open to suggestions. And if you offer up a good question and we get a good answer from somebody, whether it's me or the people over here in the chat box, you get a bell. Little reward system I have. Doesn't cost you anything, so keep that in mind. But I'm just happy to be here tonight. I also want to point something out. I shared some information on my Patreon page that YouTube has finally turned on a feature on my two channels. I don't know what's taken so long. There's a feature now somewhere, if I were to point somewhere in that general location, normally on my videos now, it's a thanks button. I know people who have had a thanks button on there for like 2 years with a handful of subscribers, literally. And what it is, it's an opportunity for people, because I've had a lot of people that say, you save me some money. I'd like to, actually tip you, or I want to buy you a beer or something along those lines. And I know I get my followers here that do donate funds, and that's fantastic. But on a broader scale, if people can see that little button, they can throw a tip at the video, which is fantastic. I don't know why YouTube has waited so long for that. I really don't. I've met all the requirements. I don't have any gigs against me, no copyright claims, no junk like that. And it's taken forever to get that feature turned on. So I was just looking at my comments on YouTube, and I had a tip from Douglas Weingarten. That's the first tip that I received from anybody on the channel. And I mean, as far as the videos go. And that's fantastic. And if that were perceived by the general public that, hey, you can do this, boom, it would help a lot. It would help an awful lot. So anyway, enough about that. Let's see who's here tonight. First up, Rick Gain. Hello, everybody. Here we go again for a couple hours of relaxation and enjoyment. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, Rick. Oh, I almost forgot to put my sticker somewhere. My sticker. Have you looked at the stock market lately? Don't get me started. Let me put my sticker out here where It's not quite so obvious, but it's there. Anyway. Jerry checking in from the Money Pit in Middle Tennessee. Glad you're here, Jerry. Roger checking in from next door. Glad you're here, Raj. The yard looks good. I'm not going to mow. I'm going to have to wait. Yard looks good. Aaron, preemptive thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Give you a bell for that. Bob Shoemaker, good evening, everyone from Oklahoma. Good weather today compared to last week's tornado weather. 15 miles north and 50 miles south of me. Well, at least you weren't caught up in it. That's the plus. So glad you're here, Bob. I'll give you a bell for surviving potential tornadoes. Let's see. Crash Rider from Southern Indiana. Greetings to everyone. Lost my truck keys at Home Depot today and don't have a spare. Dumb, huh? Hope someone turns them in tonight. Hit the thumbs up button for Joe Daddy. Thank you, Crash Rider. And I can't give you, I'll give you a bell, but I can't give you a bell for losing your truck keys. Hopefully they'll get turned in because I'm sure there's probably more than just truck keys on there. Sorry to hear that. Jeff, I'll have to give you a star, Jeff. Glad you're here, man. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything is well with you, and I appreciate the super sticker. Awesome, 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 awesome. Very cool. Let's see. Brandon Reisinger. Good evening, Barry, and everyone. Glad you're here. Let's go, Brandon. You probably hear that a lot, don't you? Rick Stevenson. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Rick. And I hope you are feeling better. I am feeling better, Rick. When I posted my video yesterday for Patreon, you may hear it in my voice somewhat tonight. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know how far I'll be able to go. But yesterday, or the last several days, I've had a real dry cough. Nothing's coming up. Just a random hard dry cough, and having head congestion, and that's kind of still there. But last night I popped a couple of Benadryl and hope for the best, and I still didn't sleep all night. It didn't really help like I expected it to. So anyway, thank you for asking or helping. Thank you for that, Rick. I should say. Nick Moss, hello, Nick. Glad you're here. Aaron, turkey leg type fare or an elephant ear type fare? I don't know what an elephant ear type of fare is, so I'll have to go with turkey leg. It had traditional crafts, and it had, people selling hot dogs and sausage and chicken and barbecue. So all kinds of good stuff like that, and some neat craft stuff. It was interesting. I don't mind going, spend time with my wife. It's a good thing. And I think, honestly, other than paying to get into the place and buying some food, we only spent like $20. So really can't complain. We didn't end up paying, $200 for a picture frame or something, So it's good to go. Doug Weingarten. Hey, Barry and y'all. Hope all is well. Well, hey, Doug. I want to thank you. I don't know if you saw that or not, but I saw the tip. Man. That's awesome. That is awesome. You're my first tip on the videos. Not on here, but on the videos. And I appreciate that so much. Jerry, I'm replacing the fender aprons on my 66 and want a really smooth look. Unfortunately, the right side is not available. I am thinking the fender aprons welded together for each side. You could do that. Now, I don't know. I'm trying to think how you could do that. Because I know like the ones I put in the convertible, they were a one piece. And they had the cutout you could put, over the shock towers. Now, I don't know if they make... I don't know what's available from that aspect. Like you're saying, for the smooth look. I don't know what is available. Like if you took two pieces, your only butt joint would be at the top, right? Because you're going around the shock tower. So I don't know. I don't know how. I guess that would work. It would take a little effort to get it smooth, but I guess that would work. Bob, good evening to everybody, especially you, sir. Still standing on that 67 Mustang named Venus. Well, I'll give you a bell for that. I'm glad you were still working on it. I know you would rather have it done, but I'm glad you're still digging in and making it happen. So good to you. Good for you. Jerry, thanks button is not showing on the live stream. Yeah, it probably won't show up on the live stream. It's only on the videos themselves. So it's like a little heart or something. Yeah, the live stream has a different setup for that. I don't know. I can't see it. I know there's some sort of little characters or something you click on. I don't remember. Ron, greetings everyone. Checking in from the Tri-Cities in Northeast Tennessee. Welcome, Ron. Glad you're here. Dave, good evening, Camaro. Good evening, Dave Conville. Good evening, Camaro coming together nicely. Did Paul contact you? No. Not that I know of, or not that I've seen. Not yet. So, but I'm glad you're here, Dave. John Westerdale, thanks, bud. Is the dollar figure lower right? I don't know what it is on the live stream, but like on the regular videos, let me see if, I don't even know if I could do it without messing things up here. There's some sort of, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. On the video itself, if it'll show it to me. Okay, yeah. On the video shelf, there is a little, it's a heart. It says thanks, and then inside the heart is a little dollar symbol. So yeah, that's how it's set up, at least on the main videos. So, like I said, I hope other people see it and, use it. Aaron, replacing 18 inches of the outer section of the front frame of my 66. I've run a shop vac hose down it to remove loose rust. Thoughts on something like OSFO before I weld it shut? You could. I don't know how bad it looks down inside that rail. Of course, the rail it's going to end into the floor support. You could put OSFO in there, or you could spray in some of that Eastwood frame coater, stuff like that. If you had a long, like, round wire brush that you could just snake in and out of there and try to break loose stuff, that would be helpful. Pull it out with a shop vac or blow it out, and then you could use, like, I've used a chassis saver or like 415, and I've just actually shot it up in there with a syringe, and then in a frame rail and the rocker panels, and then taken a long blow nozzle and blown it all over the place. So anything will be helpful. I don't know how bad the rust is that you're referring to, but yeah, anything is going to be a benefit at this point. Paradise Bay Customs. Hey, how goes it? It goes pretty well, Paradise Bay Customs. Glad you're here. Steve Grimes. Good evening, gang, from Central PA. Glad you're here, Steve. Scott, when are you making Joe Daddy posters to hang in the shop? Oh. You mean like this one? Ba-da-da! Yeah, I have one. This one's getting all dusty. These are actually available on Teespring. If you go to my Teespring page, those posters are available, along with a bunch of other stuff. And that you can get to from the bottom of my videos too. There's like a banner down there for like T-shirts and all that sort of thing. You can get a poster. Good question. I just happen to have a good answer. Doug, happy to be first with a great feature and more happy to help the channel. Thank you, Doug. Thank you. Harvey. Hello, Barry. Working and watching from Rally Cat Garage. Glad you're here, Harvey. Jeff, been busy with work, so I missed the live a few weeks. I understand. I'm just happy you're here. One way or another, I'm happy you're here. Brandon's Garage. Morning, Barry. Day off work today, so able to watch. Awesome. Brendan. Sorry, I said Brandon. Brendan. Glad you're here, Brendan. We have a Brendan. We have a Brandon. We have a couple different things going on. Brandon, for those of you who benefit from Barry's videos and skills, please consider supporting on Patreon so we can keep benefiting, and or just a little more than a couple of cups of coffee a month. That's true. Thank you for that. That is very true. And that's still kind of a thing that I've been torturing myself over, about whether I want to put more content on Patreon itself, as opposed to YouTube, or what, because it's obviously there's value, right? There's value involved. And for the most part, the only thing that YouTube gains is the advertising and you sitting there having to click on their thing or whatever. Whereas on Patreon, there's no advertising. There's no advertising. It's just, boop, there it is. So that is something I'm still considering. But thank you, Brandon. Nick, anyone know what kind of gap you need for a flush mount windshield for the adhesive? Like what's ideal? I'm getting ready to fab that part and haven't found an answer, or even if it's that critical. Okay, so you're doing a flush mount. So what are they giving you for materials to do the flush mount? Is there any kind of hardware in the kit? Does the windshield come out close to the edge, I assume, of the A-pillar and the top of the frame and all that? And there should be some, you're talking about the gap, though. Gap for the adhesive, how much adhesive it's going to put in. Are you using butyl or urethane? So there's some questions there. I would assume the kit should tell you what you need. I know in the past what I've done when I've used the urethane is I created my own little standoffs, so that where I wanted the glass to sit, I created little standoffs, out of rubber, to support it, and then I could apply the urethane to that height, basically. So you have to look at. Really, it should be just some math here, because if you want it flush to your windshield frame on your A-pillar, you can do some thickness of the glass, how thick the drop is from the edge, let's say, of the A-pillar down into the channel. Do some math there and come up with a number. That's how I would approach it anyway. But I can't tell you if there is a specific number or not. Part of that will be based on the thickness of the windshield too. I mean, when you ask that kind of question, somebody could have one that's slightly thicker than yours or thinner. So kind of hard to be confident in an answer. Good question, though. Give you a bell for the good question, Nick. Jerry says the two-piece is lap welded as the two single pieces. Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm thinking of something else, because the ones that I put in the convertible, it was a one piece. It was more like one bent piece of metal. It was not overlap welded together. It was one solid piece from the firewall forward. Rick, circumstances out of my control. May have to sell my 65 coupe. Close to perfect. Only needs interior and engine bay detailing. What's the best way to sell to get the most money? That is a great question. It's unfortunate you're in that situation. Those cars, they're bringing crazy money now in all kinds of different conditions. As far as the best format to sell it, I see stuff like that on Marketplace all the time. Whether it brings what it's supposed to, I don't know. But I mean, that's probably your route at this point. I don't do Craigslist anymore. I don't know anybody that does. Other than that, you may have to find a consignment place to where you could take it and say, this is what I need for it. Anything over that is your cost. So that's all I can just kind of give you some ideas on that. Robert says, that sucks, Rick. Yep. Sure does. Ray Buckman. Hey, Barry and all. Hey, Ray. Glad you're here. Rick, for some reason, super stickers still aren't working for me. Check your PayPal direct later after the stream. Oh, well, okay. That's all right. I mean, we're good, Rick. We're good. Don't make it an inconvenience for you at all, by any means. Paradise, new to Cars and Coffee, been enjoying your content for years. Awesome. Well, I've been doing this on the live stream for well over a year now, probably a year and a half at least, on Monday nights. I was doing it on Thursdays, but it's not able to do that anymore. I was doing it earlier on Thursdays. So I'm glad you're here. If you have, you want to throw some topics out, by all means, throw some subject matter, and we can talk about things. Cooter Lev, hello everyone. It's been a while. It has been. Welcome back, Cooter. Glad you're here. Jerry, right? It's always confusing with the name there, but I'm going to say Jerry. Hi, Jerry. Hope you're good. Shane is here. Glad to hear Shane. Troy Justin. Hey, Barry and gang. Sorry I'm late. Lost track of time in the garage. That's okay. As long as you were in the garage doing something, that's okay. That's all right. Nick, urethane. It's just a windshield. You have to make a new opening, basically. I also have to figure out what I need to do it, really. Okay. So they make the windshield, right? But you have to make the car fit the windshield is what you're saying. Or is it just using a regular windshield? Like, do they make a bigger windshield? Or is it something because surely you're not using the regular windshield and you're going to have to close it up, right? You're not going to do that. I'm assuming they make a bigger windshield. I don't know. I've never done it. Terry, did you see what I posted very early in the program? No. Oh, here we go. Sorry, Terry, I missed that. Hi, Rick, Barry, and all. Just got home from Iowa. Spotted a 67 or 68 Stang fastback. Please hit the thumbs up and like button. Thank you kindly. Sorry, Terry. Sorry, I got excited. I missed your comment. Excuse me while I cough. There we go. Sorry, Terry. I'm glad you left a comment. I'm sorry I missed it. Phil, hi Barry. Do you have an approximate time frame of when your metalwork may be completed? Enjoying the content. Approximate time? That's a good question. I'm at a point right now with this car where I think I know the next step is going to be a full test fit of the panels. And I know I need to weld on this side. So that's going to come into play in doing that. So once I feel like I'm really confident that everything is lined up where it needs to be. We've already seen that with when I had the quarter on the car, and pretty sure I don't know if I had the door on the driver's side. I think I did, yeah. So I'm really confident with the side of the car here. But the next step will be a full test fit. Getting the quarters on, getting the tail panel in place, getting the deck filler in place, which I know that's going to be an awkward piece because I've already done some test fitting, and that thing, it's going to need some massaging. I already know that. I'm ready to, at this point, really ready to put the package tray back in because I've removed that when I did this blasting, so that can go in. But I think the next phase will be the full test fit, making sure everything gaps out nice, and then start putting it together. Now, once I get to that point, I expect stuff to kind of roll fairly quickly. I need to put on in the process. Obviously, I've got to get the side of the car welded on. I've got to get the package shelf or package tray in. I've got to weld in the cross bracing for the roof, and I need to weld on the rain gutters and get all those in place. And then, again, things are just going to pop in. Now, will that be in next week or 2 weeks? I don't know for sure. This week is going to be a short week. I already know that. I have some family stuff I have to do this coming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Thursday too. So not going to get a whole lot done this week. I may just start doing some test fitting, and see what I can get done. I'm not even sure if I have a Camaro video out this week. I may have to. I think I have 3 other videos that I need to edit that are doing maintenance work. So those may be what I get, back up on the channel. But yeah, that's the plan. So I can't really say it's going to be next week or, it shouldn't be that long, honestly, as long as everything lines up nice. Jerry, yes, pieces, but I cannot get the right side and don't want the left side and right side to be different. So I'm thinking about going with both sides with the same look. Well, I understand that, and it's probably the best choice is to keep the same look. Roger, Terry, YouTube held your post for review. I released it when I logged in, but it still may not have shown. Okay, well, see that. Thank you, Roger. I didn't realize, because I know I normally don't miss any of these comments, and especially Terry. I know he puts in there quite a bit. I wonder why they held that. I wonder why they held that back. That's interesting. But I'm glad you cleared it up, Roger. Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Nick, I have a bigger windshield, but they also do it with the smaller ones by closing the gap. Yeah. I don't know how, I guess that works, but I can't say that I would like that. Building up the edges to try to, I'd want to at least keep the original opening as close as I could and let the windshield fill the gap, than to try to shrink the gap to make the windshield fit. Because when you start doing that, now you're dealing with, what do you fill it with? Do you make channels out of steel, or do you use body filler and then shape it? That gets kind of tough, I would say. Shane, if you would go strictly Patreon, do you take the past YouTube videos with you, or are they part of YouTube now? Actually, I can pull everything. I can pull everything off of YouTube if I wanted to. There's other companies out there that what's the other one? Vimeo is one of them, but there's Rumble. I think Rumble is another. Supposedly they pay better than YouTube. I don't know. But yeah, I have thought about that. That would it be practical to pull those videos off of YouTube by itself? And there's hundreds and hundreds of videos on YouTube under my name, so that could be something to think about. So, thank you, Shane. More complexity to the situation. Ray Buckman, I just checked. There's a couple videos on how to flush mount window. Well, there you go. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Ray. I was looking at Rick, the next one up. Rick, how many clamps have you used so far with the Camaro project? All of them. I don't know. You can see just in what's here. There's clamps everywhere. And there's a whole pile of clamps on the floor of the car because I had that holding the quarters on and all that sort of thing. So I would venture 30 or so, be my guess. Probably around 30 or so. I haven't counted them, but that's a good question, Rick. Good question. Troy, I'm enjoying your videos on a basket case. It's amazing how much more complicated a Camaro is compared to a Mustang, but great content. Thank you, Troy. And yes, it is more complicated. People don't realize, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, how relatively simple the Mustang is. And, obviously they improved it, as I've said before. The early ones had their problems. You look at the idea of installing the torque boxes and trying to reinforce the footwell areas. There's nothing there. You've got the frame rail and a floor support, and then nothing connected to the rocker panels. There's just tin between them. When you really think about it, there's nothing there. And so, yeah, they've done a lot more homework on the Camaros. Terry says he went past me before I realized it, looked in the mirror, and seen it was a fastback. Okay. Cool. Rick, Johnny Cash could make any windshield fit. He would just do it one piece at a time. Yeah. Robert, there are narrow foam tapes that the windshield guys use on the inside edge of the lip to keep the urethane from oozing in and give you a height you can't drop below. So there's some information for you, Nick. Narrow foam tapes that the windshield guys use on the inside of the lip. Okay. Now, does that foam stay? I guess it would stay in there then, right? Would have to. I would assume. Arthur, hello from Mobile, Alabama. Glad you're here, Arthur. And Robert, the tips that come with the urethane have an edge guide and a V to size the height of the bead that limits how far it can squish down. Just push it down till it's as low as you want it. I've not seen anybody use that. I know in the collision industry we had glass guys that would come in and put the glass in the cars, and they would just lay in a heavy bead and set it in place and leave it. That was pretty much it. Now, a lot of them had the little flange on the glass, so it had like a trim flange. So you really were saved by that. Once you pushed it in, that trim flange would keep anything from coming around it. But I've not seen anybody use what you're talking about. Randall, setting up the backlash, preload, and tooth pattern on 9-inch for my 67 Cougar. Do you have any videos that cover this topic? Actually, I do have a video out on the rear end that I put in Jade. Now, I can't say that it's the best video. I can and I've got some tips and pointers on there because I've never really done that before. I kind of researched it on my own, and then I took the thing apart because I removed the mini spool or the spool that was in that rear end because somebody had put a spool in it to make it a posi, and I couldn't even push the car around. It would chirp the tires just trying to push it. So I took all that apart, and I did go through the steps of putting it back together and trying to get the backlash correct. Now, did I do it perfectly? I don't know. But the car drives. It goes down the road. I know that much. Phil, do you make it a rule of thumb not to paint when it is raining? Controversial topic as I'm learning from other painters. There's probably some people that like to paint when it's raining. And there's people that don't like to paint when it's raining. I'm sure there's probably people on both ends of the spectrum. For me, I tend to try to get a nice dry day, and usually your timing has to be such that, let's say, there's a certain time of day when bugs are more active, right? So if you're looking at dealing with bugs, it seems like there's a certain time that the bugs are more active. So I try to find the time, like sometimes I sprayed in the evening with the doors all shut in my shop, of course, and the fan blowing out, and really it's a hard time for the bugs to even get into the space, and I've had pretty good luck with that. There's been other times I've shot during the day, and there's actually been times where I've shot where it's been kind of humid, not raining but humid, and I've had decent luck doing it just about any one of those. But I've not done it specifically while it's raining, so I can't recommend that. If that's any help at all, I don't know. Because I've done it in different scenarios. Troy, Randall, CJ Pony had a video on 9-inch rear install. It might help if it's still out there. Okay, good. That'll work. Like I said, mine's on a 9-inch also, so you could compare the two if you want. Randall says, thanks, Troy. Rick, just got a bowl of ice cream to enjoy while listening to the stream. That's not a bad idea. Not for me right now, but later on, I might have to have some moose tracks. Moose tracks, good stuff. In fact, I'll just say this. When I make a bowl of ice cream, it's usually moose tracks. I take a handful of mixed nuts with sea salt on them, throw those in there. I'll get some caramel, put that on top. I may even throw some the little square pretzels with the peanut butter inside. Throw some of them in there. I make a feast out of a bowl of ice cream. Shane, speaking of driving Jade, you should do a video of you driving it. That would be friggin' awesome. That's a good idea. I should do that. I should do that. Um, get it out and shoot some video with it. Yeah, I should. When I find time. Robert, the dew point to temperature spread is important. You don't want the dew point and temperature to be close. And the more moisture in the air, the more your compressor and dryers have to deal with. Valid points. Thank you, Robert. Those are very good points. Very good points. Let me see here. I had another notice. You know, I've talked about it before. I keep getting opportunities, let's say, to try out products. You know, and a lot of it has been like these little jump starter things that I have, the Loki Thor thing and the Hulk, whatever it is. I've had the speaker thing, which I use all the time. I love this thing. And of course, you know, Guest Welder has sent me equipment. I've had what's the name of that company? Hold on a second. I gotta make sure. Evolution Power Tools. So I've had Evolution Power Tools send me stuff, you know, all that stuff, and it's great. It's great. It's great to have stuff like that. But I keep getting a notice, or I've gotten a recent notice that there's a company that wants to send me a pressure washer, and I'm debating on that one. I'm debating on the pressure washer. It's apparently, I think the company is Giraffe Tools or something. I don't know. But I looked it up. It's a wall-mounted pressure washer with a 100-foot hose on it. And apparently you hook it up to your regular water line, and it looks like you must plug it in. Has a electric pump, I assume. I saw a video on it. It actually looked like it had some pressure. So do I want to do that? I don't know. Would I use it much? I don't know. But anyway, that's the kind of things that get thrown up to me and say, hey, are you interested in doing this? Shane says, Rick Gain, so did Brandon. Oh, Brandon got a bowl of ice cream. But somebody's feeding it to him. Rick, Moose Tracks is exactly what I'm eating right now. Good. Good stuff. Troy, speaking of Jade, where are you at with it? Did you get the grill in? No, I did not. I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't get the grill in. I didn't get the horns on. I did get the wiper arms show up. I didn't get them on, but they showed up. I've been waiting for the wiper arms to get here. And I thought when I ordered those wiper arms from Kentucky Mustang, I thought I ordered the arms with the blades, you know, the whole assembly. But apparently I must have just ordered the arms because that's all they sent me. So I have to see what I have because I know when I was taking the car apart, I was missing some items. So I have to see if I have a set of, you know, the stainless steel wiper arm holder, you know, the wiper blade holders, so I can get it on the car. But I haven't gotten everything on it yet. Lots of things going on. Randall, ice cream in hand. Well, see, this is ice cream night. We all need to have some ice cream. Go get some Brewsters. Bob Shoemaker, back in lacquer days, black was bad on blushing in high humidity days. Thank you, Bob. Rick, a video of you driving the Model A would be nice as well. Yeah, I mean, that could be fun. That could be fun. I guess the hard part is getting everything set up, getting camera mounted. Speaking of, I may be getting another camera. You know, I've been using my regular, my Canon video camera that I've been using. Let me see where it's at. It's over there on the stand. And it's working. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But what I've run into, and this is frustrating, Because when I shoot stuff with this camera, right, and I go to put it on the computer, it's really important that it recorded what I wanted to have recorded. Just kind of a thing, you know. If I'm doing something, putting something together, welding, separating, whatever it is, it really is important that it shows up on the camera. And what I found recently is the camera, for some mind of its own, creates a different type of format for my video. So like it's a movie format or MVI or whatever it is. And I recorded a couple segments and went to check it on my computer, and the one format I could not use. It like, this is corrupted. There's something wrong. It's no good. The bad part is I had a brand new memory card. This thing has done a good job, but I'm looking at an upgrade to this camera because I'm upgrading. I think I'm going to upgrade to 4K. Honestly, this is. Oh, should it make that noise? This has been a good camera, but I want to upgrade the video quality. So I'll probably be getting a new camera before too long. I still have been using this little Osmo camera. I love this thing. This does all my time lapse. So really cool little camera, but I need to upgrade. And what I might even do, I might even set up and start recording with 2 of these cameras. So if I had my new camera and then set this one up in another perspective, because I'm really I try to do what I can to get angles and ideas across when I make my videos. Like if you saw in the part 10 on this one, I tried a new feature where I did a split screen, and I was talking about the rain gutter and where I was indexing it with the marker, and I forget what the other part was, but I had them overlapped, I had one on top of the other, and it works out really well. When I do stuff like that, I can convey a message while showing the video and also like the next phase or kind of thing. So I'm always trying to think of ways to incorporate the different video stuff. So like even when I'm doing stuff with this thing records time lapse 2 seconds. Every 2 seconds it takes a picture. Now the thing is, when I could record for, like, you can do the math, for an hour, not an hour, let's say 10 minutes, and it becomes a very short clip. So when I put this on to my videos, I have to slow it down, usually 50 to 60%, so that it gives me a longer section to work with. So that's what I've been trying to do now when I'm giving, say, an introduction or talking about what I'm working on. I can have that time lapse also show up and kind of feed that thing as well. So I'm really trying to get more broad in how I'm making the videos. I think it helps everybody to have some better perspectives. Let's see, Bob. I have located a 67 posi rear end for Venus. The guy was a true Mustang person. He sold it to me for $350. Wow. I would have taken that. Good deal on that, Bob. Robert, once you start on the pressure washers, every importer of them will be bugging you to do them like the guys doing 3D printers. Yeah, I know. But I keep getting offers for the jump box things. But this pressure washer might be kind of cool. Might not. I don't know. Phil, I'm considering not to wet the floors down before painting. Moisture. Well, actually, I mean, you can defer and not wet the floor. But it definitely has its advantages, because the challenge is, of course, now the last time I sprayed, I wore a full Tyvek suit or whatever to try to keep any kind of moisture for me getting out, and Obviously absorbing paint and chemicals, but it's not, that moisture is different. And what I mean by that is we're more concerned with moisture coming out of your spray gun than a little bit of moisture on the floor, if that makes sense. Because you're trying to keep the dust down, you're trying to keep everything on the floor down, and that really isn't going to play into it when it comes down to it, in my opinion. Ray Buckman, popsicles is what I grabbed. Okay. What did you get? Let's see, what are the flavors? I don't even know what the flavors of popsicles are. Usually it's, what, peach? Cherry or something? I don't even know. Troy, thanks, Rick. Now I have ice cream. My gut is mad at you. Robert, it's only 94 degrees, not hot enough yet. We'll have to wait till the summer heat comes. Ah, yes, summer heat. Don't forget to change out to summer air in your tires, too. Get the winter air out, put in the summer air. Jerry, I use a low-pressure washer to clean the undercarriage on my Shelby Cobra GT500. It saves me many hours of cleaning for ICSA shows. Well, see, there you go. Rick, looks like I started ice cream, a trend. Barry, send your wife a text and ask her if she'll bring you a bowl. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think she will. Ray's laughing. Rick, VLC is open source video software that may be able to convert video formats for you. Okay. I'll have to, let me make a note of that. VLC. Because it gets frustrating at times when you try to make something, make a video, and all of a sudden you can't even open the file. So, Shane, I see a lot of more watchers than thumbs up. Come on, people, show your appreciation. Thank you. Scott, ice cream does go with my morel mushrooms I'm frying. Okay. I don't know if I would try that. I might try that. Dave Britton, hello there. Hello, Dave. Terry Keithley, I wet the floor and hang a chain off the rear end as a ground. That's not a bad idea either. I like that. That's a good idea. Ray, okay, who's coming to Colorado Springs for the Rocky Mountain Mustang Roundup? Probably not me. I would like to, but probably not me. Aaron says Handbrake is also useful video converting software that handles lots of formats. Okay. Well, what I've run into, like I was saying, it's like it comes up as an MVI file. I think it's MVI. And then the next one comes up and it says MVI as well. But instead of having, I don't know what the symbol is. They give you a little like a thumbnail symbol, and then there's a different one on the one that I can't open. And when I try to load it into my editing software, it just says this file is corrupt, cannot access it, blah blah blah. So I was assuming, because I'm using the same camera, it's not like I'm changing formats. I'm not doing something with the camera that's different. So I was assuming that the file itself, whatever I've recorded, is no good, because I can't even open it. But either way, I still plan on getting a newer camera. I won't say a brand, like a latest and greatest version of that. I'll probably get the one step down, because, the brand new ones are way more expensive than the previous model, which does basically the same thing. But the new one will be 4K. And then I'll have to decide how I want to incorporate that, because if I'm using whatever, this is HD, right? I know the software doesn't care. Like when I go to edit, I can have 4K and HD, and it's going to put the two however. But it may be noticeable whenever I'm doing shots where you can see one looks better than the other. So, whatever works. So what's everybody been working on? I've been waiting on everybody to tell me, what they're doing. I know Jerry's working on his aprons. Rick's eating ice cream, and I need to get working on videos where I'm driving the cars around. I know that much. That would be fun. Shane, your Canon camera was like a box of Cracker Jacks. Sound like a prize was inside. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Because should there really even be any moving parts in this? Another thing I've noticed is when I open this up, it never clicked before. There. Like when I just start open it, I don't know why it's doing that. But it's had a lot of, this thing's filmed a lot. It's been through a lot. Aaron, just that 66 frame rail. I could send a pic. Well, yeah, send a pic. That'd be great. Ray got the new nose for the Corvette. Still waiting on the glue as it will be seamless. Nice. I was talking to a friend of mine. He has he does emissions testing, and I see him a couple times a year whenever we do the wife's vehicles and my vehicles. And he was telling me the other day, he asked me about, and I talked about this before, about repairing the front nose section or something on his Corvette. He's got I think he said a 72 or 73 Corvette that has already been repaired once. And from what he was saying, they had cut something out of it and welded something in the windshield frame area, and they did not treat it. They didn't put any primer or paint on it. And the thing has been sitting outside for like 20 years, and it's rusted apart again. And he was asking me if I'd be willing to work on it. And I was like, well, I don't think so. Because I haven't messed with Corvettes much. Mechanical stuff I have, but not the body and not definitely the skeleton of the car. Well, the last time I went and got the emissions test for the last vehicle, he showed me some pictures of the damage. And I was like, no. It was like the windshield frame came down, and then there was just nothing. It was gone. It was just, looked like you could, what was there looked like you could just crumble it up with your fingers. And I was thinking, I don't know if this is worth saving, honestly, because when you start adding up the cost of all involved to get it apart, fix it, get it back together, he's going to have a ton of money in that car. And it's not a big block. It's not a 4-speed, so I felt bad for him because he's in a bad place to try to get that fixed. Kenneth, that's a different name. 65 Mustang Coupe, total rusted mod. Okay, cool. I'm guessing Brazzy. I'm going to say Brazzy is your last name. Bob Knowles, 67 Mustang Coupe. Yes, Bob. Awesome. Dave says put a grease fitting on that camera. Yeah. I don't know what, I don't know. I don't know. It's a mess right now. Rick, I bought an 02 WRX. I've been sitting for 5 years. Guy quit driving it because he broke his leg and can't drive a manual. I'll take that off your hands. I would take that off your hands. That sounds like a great car. Yeah. I keep waiting for somebody to come up to me and say, hey, I have this 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11 Chevy or GMC truck extended cab that I don't use anymore, and offer to sell it to me cheap. Because I like those trucks. But I don't see it happening. Jerry says, I just received the hydraulic clutch conversion kit from MDL. Very clever conversion and needs attention to detail. I am doing a T5 conversion. Well, I'm glad your kit showed up. That's awesome. Marshall, howdy folks, been a bit sorry. Been driving the fastback and epoxy primer and only the windshield. Put over 1,200 miles on it so far. It's running pretty good. I'm loving every minute and mile. We'll drive it down here and we'll take a look at it. Come on down. We'll take a look at it. That's awesome, though. I'm glad you're driving it, if nothing else. Ray, yes, that would be serious work to get at, removing the front section and the firewall just to access it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really, it looks really, really bad. Really, really bad. Doug Weingarten, I'm getting ready to start a body swap, putting a 47 Ford Club Coupe on a 2003 Lincoln Aviator chassis. Should be a fun challenge. I'd be all into that. I would. I really like stuff like that. Merging stuff together. In fact, I was watching a video the other day, and I don't know how many of you follow Mr. Fireman. And I don't know where he's at on his timeline with what he does. I'm assuming he's a firefighter. Why else would he have named Mr. Fireman? He has, as I believe it's a 68 Camaro. And I also saw where he has, I think, a K5 Blazer in his shop. And he was working on putting, I'll say this, he is bulletproofing this car, in my opinion, his Camaro. He's added a 4-link setup in the rear. I know he's doing Detroit Speed mini tubs, I believe. But then he started adding, he's showing stuff that he's been adding, some sort of big steel floor brace, because what Detroit Speed has determined is people have so much torque on the rear axle now that they're ripping the torque box out. And so now they're putting in the a plate on the rear floor area underneath the back seat to reinforce that. He's also putting in like frame connectors. He's doing all kinds of really cool stuff. But I was looking at, I don't know which video it was. It was recent. He's got, the car is in half. Like the upper half, kind of like I have, you can see this section here. He has the floor section on some stands, I think, and the body is on a lift, and he has the whole thing separated, and it really gave you some perspective as to how everything interacts. He's got it all braced. It's really cool. But I was looking at that and thinking that it would be kind of a cool design, because they've done this with like the Model, what they do with the Model T, I think at the Henry Ford Museum, which I've never been to. But they have an exploded view, I think, to where they have the car, like they have the frame, and then they have the body, and then they have the fenders, and they have all these pieces kind of exaggerated, either hanging or whatever, away from the main frame. And I was thinking, boy, wouldn't it be cool to build something like that to take to a car show? Take like a Camaro and figure out, like he did, separate it in such a way that you could almost motorize it to where you could pull it in on a trailer and elevate the let's say the floor pan or the bottom section up off of a pre-built kind of frame, so you could just isolate things, and then have the body come up off of that, just kind of make it a tiered looking car, but have it all painted and everything. I don't know. I kind of like stuff like that. I think it would be kind of cool to build something in that aspect. I had one idea when I had the 55 Chevy. I tried to talk to one of the suppliers, and I said, I have an idea for a project. And if they were interested, I wouldn't just do it on my own. I said, if you were interested, I would do it. What I want to do would like to take as a car, like the 55 Chevy that I had, and leave, let's say, the passenger side all rusty as is, kind of the rat rod that I had done with it, draw a line down the center of the car and completely finish the driver's side. Make it painted, beautiful, new chrome, all that stuff. Even detail the driver's side half of the engine, the radiator, all that stuff, detail one half of the car and leave the other half just rough and rusty. I think that would be pretty cool. Make it drivable, you know, take it to a car show or whatever and just pull in and watch the crowd go and show up around that thing. I've never seen anybody do that before. I don't know if any of you have seen any of that. If you have, let me know. But I've never seen anybody do that. And I think it would be a really cool eye catcher. And if you had a sponsor showing you show all the new parts and you're like, hey, here you go. If you want to get, here's the quarter, here's the glass, here's whatever. It would just be a great display. Just another one of my ideas I'll never get done. Troy, I finally got the cowl on my 65 and now I'm moving on to the skirts. I found a rust spot under the battery tray that I will do a patch on. The back one needs to be replaced. Yep. Pretty common. Pretty common. I had somebody ask me the other day and I haven't followed up very well. They asked me on Instagram if I could look at their Mustang. They had some damage or rust damage to the frame rail. Yeah, and so I was like, well, I could look at it. It's about all I can say at this point. But he apparently doesn't live too far away from me. Shane, Rick Stevenson, I really like the hood on the WRX. Good car. Yeah, I would take one of those. Rick Gaines, slim chance an 07 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab 2500 may be available late in June. We'll let you know. Well, that's a beastly truck. I'm maybe interested in that. Maybe interested. Dave, your wife would not like riding in that hot car with you, Barry. Yeah, well, she usually doesn't ride with me anyway. She usually doesn't. But I could put AC on one side, right? I could make it AC blow on one side, leave the other side all the way it comes. Robert, we should make a 3-day trip to the Henry Ford Museum. Been there many times, but not to the new car museum there. It's a big museum with a lot to see. I would like to do that. We're kind of part of our situation right now with us is we have a dog that we can't really do anything with. She's like 15 years old, and she's not getting around very well anymore. And my wife is not comfortable putting her in a kennel or anything like that. So we're probably not even going to make it to the camper this year. Just can't do it with a dog the way it is. Doug Weingarten. I'm saying Doug. I hope that's okay. I know it says Douglas on there. That's a cool idea. Two-Face. Yeah. Like I said, I've never seen one of those done before. Dave Britton, last time I was at the Henry Ford Museum was in the late 60s. Well, that beats the last time I was there, which was never. Sorry. Phil Clifford, what is the worst metal repair you have seen? The worst metal repair? Oh, boy. Boy, that's a... There's several. I'll go back to some of the stuff in the body shop because we did restoration work there too, and I put together a '65 Mustang, and I think there's a little video of it on my Facebook, Jed Eddie's Facebook page, but somebody had put in new trunk pans, and they also did some work on the wheelhouses, and I think they put quarters on. But whoever did it, they had no care in the world. The wheelhouses were made out of like 5 pieces that are just layered on top of each other. Like they never even cut to fit, no butt welds. It was just put it on and weld it, put it on and weld it and try to reshape the thing. And then the pans that create the trunk area, they never welded them to the frame rails. So literally, I cut the quarter panels off the car, and I went through the taillight openings and I was able to lift the whole back of the car off of the frame rails. So that was some of the worst stuff that I had seen. Now, I've also seen, we did a 69 Camaro that had a half inch of Bondo on it over the whole back of the car. There was, I don't know if it was damaged, I don't know what exactly, but I started working on the car we were going to repaint the car, and the owner thought it was in great shape. In fact, there's pictures of that on my Facebook, Joe Day's Facebook page. But the owner thought it was in great shape. And so I started digging into it with a sander when I was trying to sand off the paint that was there. And it just kept going and going and going. And I was like, what's going on here? And there were places on the car where it had a half inch thick of Bondo, and it was Bondo. See if I have that. That was kind of cool too. That car ended up being on display down at Summit. They had it on the rotisserie down at Summit. I know I have pictures of this car. Where did I put it? Oh, yeah. Let me. I'm gonna pull down some of these pictures so you can see. But the car when we were done with it, just turned out fantastic. In fact, the paint on the car was the what would they call it? It's PPG Vibrance, and the car just come out beautiful. But the paint at that time, back in 2006, I think, was $1,000 a gallon, just for the paint, because it had diamond dust in it. So it's really, now I don't know what that stuff costs, what the Vibrance goes for, but it's not cheap. Yeah, let me see if I can do this. Okay. And then somebody else said they sent me a picture. Let me see if I can download that. Okay. Let me get back to StreamYard. So I'm gonna show you some of this. This Camaro. Oh, wait a minute. Apparently I have too many pictures in here, so I have to get rid of some. Hang on a minute. Okay. But yeah, there was always crazy bodywork and junk that I saw on different cars. Now here, check out this car. This is the Camaro. Now, from what I understand, this is at the old body shop. From what I understand, this car was actually in some sort of magazine, some sort of custom whatever magazine. And I don't know the history of it beyond that. So you can look at the color scheme and the color paint job, and you're like, oh, that's definitely an 80s paint job on the car. And the owner had never washed the car like with soap and water. He'd only used, Meguiar's One Touch or something like that. So here's a shot of the quarter panel, and that was just where I started digging in the front of the wheel well. And you can see that's probably 3/10 of an inch, roughly. And the further back I went, the worse it got. So we just, we ended up taking off both quarters, and rebuilding the whole back end of the car. Uh, so I don't know if any of you have seen this car before, but or if you've seen it on the Facebook. But this is the car. That was after everything was done to it. And that was new quarters, new tail panel, new trunk pan, I think. But you can see it that Vibrance paint was just amazing. And then let's see what else I have. If I can clear up some space, I'm on pictures here. So this is a shot of the car. Let it go through the satellite and come back down to Earth. Here we go. So that was the car, and this car is pretty awesome. It's got a 454 in it. Everything's chrome underneath the hood. It's a really sharp car, and he ended up getting it on display at Summit. This car usually wins trophies everywhere it goes, and I've known the guy for years. But that's his car at Summit when it was making its turns. So anyway, and then I have one more picture I need to pull up if I can get it on here. And this was sent by Aaron. If it'll pop up. Let's see. Come on. There it is. Yep. Pretty common. But I have a video on how to fix that. So wire brush it out real good. Blow it out like we were saying. Spray some chassis saver or pour 15 in there and try to seal it up. That's probably about the best you can do for that right now. Let's see, Bob. I live literally 5 minutes from Henry Ford Village. Wow, that's cool. Oh, Aaron said they sent that pic. I just don't call it the worst metal repair. Oh, no. Let's see, Robert. The museum had a lot of changes in it in the late 90s. Some good, some not so good. They took out a lot of stuff inside to make fancy displays versus lots of stuff to see. Yeah, that's not cool. Okay. My voice is starting to get rough. Ray, where is the Henry Ford Museum? And Troy, sounds like a field trip to Michigan to see the museum. Robert says Dearborn. Yeah, let's make a field trip. We can all go. Shane, I saw a Javelin AMX with a beautifully painted hood and trunk. The rest of the car was dented and rusted. Don't think it was intentional, though. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Let's see. Robert, leave the wife at home and I'll meet you at DTW. Yeah. Let's see. Bob, it's located in Dearborn, Michigan, the Henry Ford Museum. All right. Don's manufacturer. I'm late, but hello. He says hut, but I mean, he knows but. Glad you're here, Don. Ray Buckman, wow, that's a lot of mud. Yeah, the whole thing was mud. Simone, hi, Barry. Sorry I'm rather late. That's okay. I'm surprised you're here at all at this time. Doyle, hi, all late, running late, removing taillight panel original seam sealer. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we were talking about cars that were rusted out or really bad repairs. There was, when I was cutting apart the convertible Mustang, the Brooklyn Pony, there were so many pieces and patches on, I know specifically the quarter panels. It's like something had rusted and they put a patch, and then it rusted some more, so they put another patch, and it rusted some more and they put another patch, and it just slathered on Bondo over time. And when I was taking that thing apart, I was surprised the quarter panels, even though I'd cut them off, tried to just cut the skin off, it felt like it weighed 10 pounds, which is a lot for a quarter panel. And the thing just fell off on the floor, and it sounded like a piece of wood hitting the floor. So it was really, really, really bad. Really bad. Robert, heat gun on the backside of the panel works great for removing seam sealer, but usually I can't get to the backside of the panel. Yeah, that's the hard part. Access. So how are things with you, Robert? What are you getting done on the car? I know last we looked, you had some got the bottom side in some primer. So I don't know what the progress is at this point. Man, I can feel my voice going. I already knew it was going to do that. Let's see. Simone, I injured my hand this week. I slipped with a hammer trying to break up some concrete in my garden. Ended up in hospital. Well, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. I'm sorry to hear that. That's kind of productive. Hope you're okay. Hope it was just a bruise, not a break or anything. You know, you talk about, you just triggered a memory. When we were at the body shop, we were trying to take something apart. I don't remember what it was. And you know those times where you think you trust somebody? One of our workers was, I forget what we were trying to break something apart. We were trying to and I was holding, a punch or a chisel or something because he was swinging this good sized hammer. I should have known better. Man, he came around and just whack. I'm surprised he didn't break bones in my hand. He hit that thing, and I was done for the day. I was completely done for the day. I guess it's maybe sometimes it's a good thing that my hands have been abused so much that they can take some of that, but it's never a good thing whenever you actually hurt yourself and have to recover from that. So I hope it's not too bad, Simone. Robert, slow progress. Got a bunch of small stuff I need to get blasted and painted to bolt onto the bottom of the car. Okay, cool. Dave Britton says, ouch. Simone, heavy bruising, but really painful. I'm sorry to hear that. My voice is going. I'm telling you, I'm not going to last long. Not going to last. Brian, hello everyone from finally sunny North Idaho. Well, I'll say that's a good thing. I'll say that's a good thing. Okay. I can already feel it. My voice is starting to go. So I don't know. I'll probably just have to call it a short night because I know I'm going to lose it completely. But, yeah, Robert said, Simone, been there, done that too many times. And Simone, the last few days I've been trying to fit my steering rack and the poly bushings, rotors, and hubs are back on there. Okay, well, that's good. That's a positive. Rick, we still need our junkyard story. Let me think about that a minute. Dave says, Barry, do you have any projects or prospects for the car when it is done? I've actually had several people ask me about the Camaro. So no commitments yet, but I have had several people ask me about when it will be available. And, I'll just have to address that when it comes to that point. Rick, I don't know if I have a good junkyard story tonight. I mean, I don't know if I have anything I can really bring up. I hadn't thought about it very much. I probably don't have. I'll give you a quick one. Just because it makes me laugh to think about it. I had, we had our rollback, not a rollback. It was actually a tilt bed. Because, the tilt bed trucks just tilted like a dump, but the rollback would tilt and roll back. And one time we had to, my brother, I know it was me and my brother and another guy, had gone to pick up a school bus. Now, where we lived, you have hills. They're pretty can be pretty dramatic hills up in Pennsylvania, and we ended up going to get the school bus, and we had to hook it to the tow bar that my dad had built, this tow bar that he would attach to the back of the truck and lift the front end of the bus off the ground. And it was fine as long as we were on flat ground, you know. And I forgot to put that up there. So anyway, we're towing it back and taking our time because you can't make sharp turns towing a school bus. And so we're coming up to this hill, and as my brother's driving this thing, the tilt bed, the whole truck come off, the front end come off the ground, and we were bouncing the bus wheels off of the ground, and it would bounce, and then the truck would rotate, and it bounced, and the truck would rotate. And so we ended up having we had to get somebody in the bus to ride it out because the wheels were trying to turn sideways. So we had to sit there and hold the wheel straight, teeter totter as we went up over this hill to get back up to the junkyard. So that was a pretty funny thing to be part of. I'm sorry. Anyway, let me pull that down. So that was a quick and easy one. Shane says good stream. Thanks, Barry. Paradise Bay says cheers. Simone, someone get Barry a drink for his voice. Yeah, I don't think it's going to help. Jeff Alisi, time for a nice shot of liquid buffering, aka Southern Comfort. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to give up. Call it a night. It's been good having everybody here and enjoying the conversation. Having at least one picture sent to me, which is good. And it's just nice to kind of unwind on some of this stuff once in a while. So I hope everybody had a good night with us. I'll be back on next Monday, and we can talk more about cars and food or whatever comes to mind. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.